Hey guys, it's Mel. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. This morning I've come into the warehouse and I am sorting some of my pallets of books. I'm quite conscious that we've bought 15 pallets of books into the warehouse for me to sort, but I've also got another 7 pallets, I think, over in one of Tom's warehouses, or spread between a couple of his warehouses. And I'm quite conscious that he still wants to get those moving over here as quickly as he can. So the idea for me is to be going through some of these as quickly as I can. Also, he needs the cages back for his own business. I can't just like sit on this haul for months and months using these cages, because he does use them on a regular basis for his own incoming hauls, and I'm quite conscious that I've got to get some of these cages empty so that at least he's got some spare ones in case he needs them, because I don't want the same thing where he suddenly needed a few cages and we had to empty the pallets to be able to make use for them. I would prefer to have no pallets on the ground here and just be working from the pallets that are directly here on the floor. So what I'm trying to do is go through the stack of books that's here, and it's just a matter of sorting and culling. Now, the books that are over here, most of them seem to be fiction. I have found quite a few cookbooks. There seems to be some sporting books. I've found a small pile of gardening books, but the majority of them are fiction. Now, when I'm sorting through big hauls of fiction, what I'm doing is I'm doing an initial cull, basically. So I'm going through authors that I can see that are authors that I know will sell, authors that I know there's probably going to be multiple in because they're saturated authors. So I'm kind of setting them here, and you can see I'm piling them up by different authors here, and I'll set them aside, and then once I've got like piles of the authors, then I'll be able to determine whether or not I bundle these books, or if they're not worth bundling, or if they're going onto Facebook Marketplace. The next thing I'm doing is making like an initial cull. So on the table behind me, those are books that I 100% don't want. So I either don't want them because they are just very poor condition. They've got a lot of foxing, a lot of yellowing spots on the sides of them. These are low-end fiction books. There's a lot of competition that is selling on eBay for this style of books, and I don't want ones that are in very poor condition. They're the ones that are just going to sit on the shelf. If they are low-end and poor condition and slow selling, they're the ones that I definitely don't want. So they're going over there straight away. Once I've got the big pile of them, then I determined how I'm going to try and off-sell those and get a little bit of money back on those. Facebook Marketplace, I can do lots, and I'll just determine I might do them into like a crime and thriller lot, or like a women's romance or modern contemporary kind of lot. And so I'll just pile them up there until I've got a whole stack, and then I'll work out basically what I'm doing. But it's kind of like a series of culls. Like this is the first cull. These ones here that I'm piling up into bundles, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're definitely ones that I'm going to keep. Like I can see here, there's a pile of Dan Brown here, 4 books exactly the same, large hardcover books. He's generally a slow seller for me. So I'll pile them all up there so I can see how many I get, whether or not I keep a couple of them and then the others go to Facebook Marketplace. It's all a determining factor. I've got a big pile there of Jeffrey Archer. Again, I might find like he doesn't sell very well for me on eBay, but I can probably find 10 different books for him and throw them onto Marketplace for $10, and somebody will come and collect them. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, just doing this initial cull. I've got some over here which are like I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to keep them. They're in good condition, or good enough condition, but it's just whether or not they're sought after and desirable enough. So some of them might end up getting, I might comp some of these ones, or I might do them into mixed lots, or I don't know. It's a big game, some of this. It's just a big game. So some of them are non-fiction. Some of them are, most of these are fiction actually, but some of them are non-fiction. So I'm just trying to work through the left side of the pile, just because that's where the bin is, and I'd like to get in there and like fix the bin and get it at the right level and stuff like that. These are some gardening books, and there's quite a lot of Australiana, I think, in here. So I've got a gardening shelf up the back here where I'm putting the gardening ones. I've got a shelf where I'm putting cookbooks, and I'm going to start a shelf for like Australiana, just so I can set it aside and then I can go through that separately. At the moment, I'm kind of just sorting through the fiction. And if I am spotting any books along the way that I see that I know I definitely want to put in there as individual listings, basically taking them straight over to the photo piles over there and just getting them ready to photograph. Australiana plants. Oh wow, look at this. Look at all the Michelle Bridges. She's an Australian celebrity fitness trainer. I don't if you've ever seen that show, The Biggest Loser, that was on many years ago. She was like the original Biggest Loser coach, and she's kind of put out a lot of cookbooks along the line. Her cookbooks don't sell for very much money or very fast if you're trying to sell them individually. Sometimes as bundles, they go okay. I would never go out of my way to buy them in the thrift shop to put into a bundle to sell. But when they come in hauls like this and you get literally getting them for cents, then, I mean, you do what you do. You know, I know there'll be other Michelle Bridges books in there or in these pallets or something, so I'll just set them aside and try and get some bundles made up when I can. John Grisham. Alan First. I've also got a pile of low-end fiction that are library books, ex-library, so I've kind of kept them in a separate pile. The problem with the fiction is you get the very popular authors. There's two things with them. One, they're very saturated, so there's a lot of them already on eBay and in the market. But they are sought after authors that people enjoy reading. So it's catch-22, isn't it? You're competing against a lot of people, so it becomes a race to be the lowest price or have the best value bundle. But they're sought after authors that people enjoy to read. Then you've got the low-end fiction that's just, it's not popular authors. People don't know about it. They're not, generally there's not a lot of people searching for it. So those are the kind of low-end books that if you put them into your store, they will just sit. So, and the only way that you're going to know what are the popular authors is by doing your research on eBay. You need to be looking up what is selling on eBay to be able to learn these things. Like I already know because I've built what Tech and Sports would call a Rolodex up into your mind. I've already got this Rolodex of information in my mind of things that I remember, things that I've sold before, authors that I've researched. You know, when I'm looking at fiction, I'm really looking to learn about the top authors that are selling consistently and the most of, right? I don't want the authors that are selling one book every like 6 months. So I do my best to kind of learn about what authors are selling. That's research. You don't be successful in business if you're not doing any research. Like if you think you can just pick things and sell them and never be researching what's selling, who's popular, who's in abundance. Like there's some authors where you'll find there's hundreds of them listed and only a handful of them selling. Like just because there's heaps of them listed that might mean they're a saturated author, but it doesn't mean they're a desirable author. So it's a learning game. Now I'm sure I had him somewhere. He might be in here. Of course. Saw him somewhere. Okay, let's put him over here. Alan First. Because some of the authors I've already got piles for on the shelves behind the camera there. So if I find one of those authors, I'll just put them straight away with the other ones that I can see. Never heard of that author, but there's quite a few of him. Alan First. I'll have to look it up. Okay, now I've got a self-help pile going over here because I noticed there was quite a few little self-help books. So before I sort them, I'm just going to put them, this one, let me just cover. Okay, we've got cricket here. Cricket, triathlon. So these are sports related. The problem is I can see that this is primarily fiction. But in one of these cages, there's probably primarily sports. And some of the sports has obviously gone onto here. I don't know about that one. But I definitely want to keep the sports separate until I'm Australiana, fishing, sports. Okay, Australiana. Fishing. Fishing. I might put that with animals. Fishing's kind of a genre on its own. Some of the fishing books can sell pretty nicely, and others are, don't know what that is. Others need to be bundled. Okay, where are we? You can move through books pretty quick like this when you're just doing an initial cull. Winner. That one's pretty poor condition. Library. Ben. I'm pretty sure I had a pile of this guy. There. Those big books I don't want. Fisheries. Sport. I feel like there's going to be a lot of sports books. Australia, 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 Australian, Australian. Jeffrey Archer. I don't know how many of these were. The Lost Symbol. 5 of them now. Quite a lot of Catherine Cookson. I haven't had much luck with her in the past. These little Catherine Cookson, the actual collection ones, I can sell those generally together as a lot. But the bigger ones, like this hardcover, I generally don't have much luck with. So I'm keeping a pile of it because there's quite a lot, and I'll play it by ear. Barbara Taylor Bradford, there's quite a lot of her as well. I don't have much luck with her on eBay. Also, these aren't in the best condition, so I might lot her up, but if there's quite a bit of her there, I might lot her up and put her into Facebook. So much cricket. Cricket. I got a stack of this Dale Brown, but they're all in really horrible condition. I know I have him somewhere. Where is he? I know I've got him. Christian, where are you? Here. Oh, finally, a different Dan Brown. Oh, I could hear that coming. There's a lot of cricket and there's a lot of golf and some rugby. Wilbur Smith. With these kind of hauls, you're getting the books for cents. Like they're so cheap. They're not even, they're a few cents a book basically when you buy them like this by the pallet. They're next to nothing. But you make the majority of your money probably from the non-fiction rather than the fiction, because the fiction is good if you can kind of bundle it up. But even like selling a few lots on Facebook Marketplace can get my money back for the pallet of fiction. Do you know what I mean? It's really like I only have to sell a few lots on Facebook and I get that money back. So besides Facebook Marketplace and selling these on eBay, I really try hard not to just discard any books unless they are just damaged beyond control. And, you know, sometimes there are books that are just simply too damaged to be worthy of selling or moving on or redonating or anything like that. But there's still a lot of books here that are in good condition, but they're not like for small Facebook Market lots. So, for instance, I've got like a big pile here of John Grisham, right? So I will probably put 10 books by John Grisham into a bundle, put that onto Facebook Marketplace. Wilbur Smith, same thing. Jeffrey Archer, same thing. I'll try and sell those because there's multiple of the same author. I'll try and sell those on Facebook Marketplace. But like most of these other books, which are still readable, they're just not in a condition that I want to put into my store. They don't hit the metrics of what my store is. They don't have a fast enough sell-through rate, or they're not going to bring enough profit. But it doesn't mean they're not worthy books. They're not ready for the bin as such. So Tom and I have some pallets up in one of his other warehouses where we both just put our books that we don't actually want to sell anymore, and then we offload pallets of them to cheap, either to other resellers or just people who love reading books and they can do whatever we want for them. And we quite often will sell pallets for like $50 just to kind of move them along, get them gone in bulk. We've also got another contact that comes along and sorts through sometimes books, and he's got a business where he drives out to the outback in the bush and he delivers books for free to communities that don't have access to books. So he also goes through some of our discards, takes what he wants when he wants, and he knows that he can come and do that. But yeah, these ones here in the moment. So what I'll probably do soon is I'll get like the trolley and I'll start filling them up. I'll wheel that up to Tom's house, put them into our bulk box, and that'll clear the table so I can keep doing more here because I'm kind of running out of room here for the discard pile. So, but I've got through half a pallet, half a pallet maybe. I've got some more cooking books here. These older books that, you know, just because they're old doesn't mean they're worth money. Some of them are not worth money, but you just never know. And because they don't have dust covers on them, they're not easily recognisable. Sometimes I do have to do a bit more research on those ones. So I'll set those ones kind of aside. Oh my goodness, more sporting, more fishing. Okay, so my benches are full and I've managed to empty those 2 whole pallets. Got a table here of books that I don't want these books. These ones that are all Danielle Steele here, there's a whole lot. I'm going to lot them together and try and sell them on Facebook Marketplace. So what I think I'm going to do now here is I reckon I'm going to fit 3 more metal shelves in, same as over there. So I'll pick up these pallets, leave them outside for Tom. This is all cookbooks up to about there. The bottom shelf I thought would be enough for the sporting books, but that overflowed all onto the floor. A little pile of fishing books over there and some Australiana. So what I think I'll do is I'll probably get these 3 shelves going here, and then I just need to work out what I want on those 3 shelves, because there's going to be more. There's going to be more cookbooks, more Australiana, more sporting in some of these pallets here. Now, I don't want to get started on all those cookbooks until I've found more cookbooks, or until I'm just ready for a day where it's just going to be like, right, let's tackle all the cookbooks. Because all the books under my packing stations, they're cookbooks as well that are waiting to bundle. And the problem is they've kind of got out of order over the last few months. So I need to pull those out and go back through it. When I do the cookbooks, I want to lot them up by niche, I guess. So cookbooks is one niche, but there's like so many different types of cookbooks. You know, there's Asian cuisine, Italian cuisine, dieting cuisine, diabetes cuisine. So I want to kind of put them all into their orders, because that's how I bundle. So there's a lot of sorting before the actual bundling stage comes. But when you've got these big pallets like this as well, you don't want to be spending too much time sorting, because your time is valuable and time is money. So you want to be picking through these big cages very quickly, especially when there's a lot of them for me to do. So what I'm going to keep doing now is once I set up those 3 shelves, I do want to have one shelf that is specifically set aside for Facebook Market bundles. That way, if I'm not here and something sells, then I can just tell Tom it's on the Facebook shelf, it's bundle number 5, and then he can come in when I'm not here if somebody wants to come who's local to Goulburn and come and pick up one of those bundles. Every time I pick these up, I get nervous that I'm going to get a splinter. No splinters. No splinters. Not that one. My legs are still incredibly sore. Every night I'm just rubbing like, you know, like that deep heat, like the muscle, the physio cream into my legs. I just can't get them, I don't know, they're just sore. It's been a couple, you know, it feels like it's been long enough now that the legs should not be hurting. They're still hurting. So ugly. Look at this book I found yesterday. How to Become an Assertive Woman. Get what you want and what you deserve. This book shows you how. It'll help you discover where your feelings of inadequacy come from, how to assess your potential and realistically decide which areas change is desirable, how friends and relatives and co-workers can help, and how your body conveys your self-image. I'm going to read this one. I'll come back with an update when I'm done. I actually start this side because that side's still got some stuff in the corner. I've got to leave room here for the PowerPoint. I think one of my first jobs next week will be to buy more of these shelves just to finish it off, so I can finish the back room, well, not the back room, but the back area, which is missing about 2, 4, 6, maybe like 6 shelves. 6 shelves plus one more over here. I definitely need 7. I don't know, maybe I'll even buy just a few extra. Maybe I'll just buy 10, because it doesn't hurt to always have like a few spare ones, like just sitting here for like if I don't know, if I find a spot or if I think I need another one. And I'm going to need like more benches along here. I'm always like, why are my legs so dirty? And then I realize like the shoe is like constantly rubbing on my legs. This feels good because every day I'm getting a little bit closer now to being done. And then I can start the stock take. So just for the meantime, I think this one on the left, I'm going to keep that as the Facebook marketplace. And I'll start trying to put some of the books that are here to get them off this bench, because I don't want them to stay on this bench. I want this bench to kind of like get filled up and then get cleared, get filled up and then get cleared. The whole point of it is not so that it's just used to constantly store. The whole point of it is that it's like a working, prepping bench area. So I've only got 3 of this author. I'm going to set him aside because there could be more of him in these other palettes. I'm not sure. I prefer to sell my lots in more than 3. So I'd rather set that aside and see if a 4th one comes up. If it doesn't, then it gets to the point it's just sit there for too long, I'll just bundle it and list it. But preferably I prefer more than 3 books when it comes to this in a bundle. Okay, I've got a bundle of this girl who's a bit of a slow seller. I'm not sure yet if I'll put her on Facebook or eBay yet. I've got a few big piles of self-help. I might put them up here. I don't think any of these are like overly expensive self-help books. Generally, self-help books aren't expensive anyway. Generally, self-help books are like $20 and under kind of books. There's not many of them that are, a few, but most of them I would say $20 and under. But the thing with self-help books is they're often very sought after, they're often very popular, and they're books that just stay around for many, many, many years. So they do sell fast. None of these ones here are jumping out at me as like the top sought after self-help books like Atomic Habits or something like. If it was Atomic Habits, it's not an expensive book to sell, but that would be straight up being listed because it would be a very fast seller. So none of these ones are jumping out at me as like super popular self-help books, but so what I'll probably do is I'll bundle them. There's a few here on different topics. What I'll do is eventually, once I do all the self-help, and I think there'll be more self-help in the other cages, so I'm just going to set them aside, and just like the cookbooks on a specific day, one day I'll do all the cookbooks, one day I'll do all the self-help. So you can see with these cages, is actually, to do them properly, there's a lot of sorting. There's a lot of sorting before you actually do the work of listing. Some of these books are on money. Some of them are on, like money when I say like personal finances. Some of them are on investments. Some of them are on real estate. Some of them are on sales and marketing tips, leadership tips, business tips. I like the self-help books because, well, one, I personally like reading them myself, so I have an interest in them. And I have quite a collection at home of my own self-help books. And I like selling books that help other people. So quite often I will put books like that into my store if I think that book is going to help somebody else. Sometimes it's not the most profitable book, but sometimes I do actively choose books that I think this is really going to help somebody and somebody's going to want that book, and so I'll put that book into my store. I think these ones will go for eBay, but like the Len Dayton ones, John Cleary ones, not sure about the Maeve, I can never say that name properly, Maeve Benchley, she's a pretty slow author. But these ones I'm not sure. I haven't sold enough of them to know. I need to price comp them first. I think those ones, however, will go on eBay. The ones that I think will go on eBay are going onto this shelf. Okay, I should have enough to make 2 bundles of, what's her name? Catherine Cookson. Now, these books are all the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. Exactly the same. So when I've got 7 of the same, I'll probably put 1 into the store as an individual listing. Even though it's not a high-end book, I'll still put 1 in there as an individual listing. If it sells, I can just re-top it up. The rest of these, I thought I had some more Matthew Riley, but I can't see him here. He might be still in these boxes down below, but I'm going to keep him aside, because his books do sell for me if they're in. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for piles of these Wilbur Smith. So I've got heaps of Wilbur Smith, heaps of Jeffrey Archer, heaps of John Grisham, and heaps of Frederick Forsyth. So those 4 authors I'm going to keep on this bench, because I'm going to pull them out, bundle them, and some of them are going for Facebook Marketplace. There's no way all these Wilbur Smith are going onto eBay. I'll probably put, maybe, he's got a slow sell-through rate. There's like 4,000 listed and like 400 sold. So he does sell, but compared to how much is listed, so I guess like if I'm going to list him, they're not going to be individuals, because the majority of the listings on eBay will be individual book listings. I'm not going to compete in that market. I'm going to see how many I can get into a value bundle and then price it to move. So I'll have to weigh them up and see how much, and maybe get an Australia Post box, see how many I can fit into a box. And then the rest of them, I think, Facebook Marketplace, because, yeah. This one I'm going to go put over there for listing individually. Well, Dick Francis. I think I've got some of him. He comes up all the time. Okay, what do we got? Grisham. I can't believe how many Wilbur Smith there is. Never seen so many. So much Wilbur Smith. What's that? Paperbacks. Paperback. Yeah, there's a lot of doubles here as well. So they're going to need sorting. Paperback. Oh, this is ridiculous. Look how many there is. Right, Jeffrey Archer. Dan Brown. I don't think I want all these Dan Browns. Right, I'm going to put all the Danielle Steele here because I want to sort her as well. I generally find the paperbacks can sell on eBay for Danielle Steele, but I struggle to kind of move the hardcover ones. So any of the paperback ones I'll try on eBay. Any of the hardcover ones, Facebook. Okay, this one, there's 2 of him, but I prefer more. Set him aside. More Wilbur Smith. Put him down there. That's a bundle. Put that over here to photo. Janet. Don't really want to sell this girl, but I'll put her here in case there's any more. Oh, this one's disgusting. That one's going. Right. Ooh. Right, those ones are going. Okay, this one I think I'm going to give a go at selling individually. He's quite a good author, so I'm going to give that one a, individual. Suzanne Brockman. I'm just trying to sort these a little bit into some of like the ones that are just chick lit. Now that's part of the Outlander series. I might set that one aside. Penguin Classics. So these books here I still need to go through. Some of them I need to price comp. Some of them are going to be set aside for bundling by a genre. Some of them are just going to be set aside for a little bit longer. These ones here, these are all kind of like chick lit, women's fiction. I've got a lot of that up there. I need to do that as a separate, when I pull it all out, all the women's chick lit, and then do some bundling and some sorting. I probably need to do that very similar with this stuff as well. It's probably best if I actually work out all the stuff that I want to keep from these that are fiction and then work through stuff one by one. But all these back things, John Grisham, Wilbur Smith, Jeffrey Archer, Danielle Steele, those ones I will do next time I'm in the warehouse, and those ones will be then photographed. I'm not going to list these on Facebook today because I go home today and then I'm not here for another few days. Right, so all this women's chick lit stuff, I'm going to put it here. I reckon this will all fit on one shelf. So I'll set this aside here, and that way when I one day pull out all this women's chick lit, when I'm up to it, then I'll make bundles for it and work all that out. I know it seems like you're kind of sorting it and then setting it aside, but that is actually how the bundle game works. And when you do a lot of bundles, you need a lot of storage space. You don't always just find the bundles in the stores that you can list immediately. I mean, sometimes you do if you're lucky. You might just walk into the shop and there's 6 of the same author and you're like, beaut, that's going to make a bundle. But more often than not, the way that I'm sourcing, because the books that I bundle up, I have to buy them really, really cheap. Like these are really, really cheap. So most often what I do is I have them set aside, and then when I think I've got like enough for a bundle, or if I sell a bundle, sometimes I wait. I might have a couple of bundles already listed on the shelf. I know that there's more here, but as soon as 1 or 2 of them sell, boom, I go and make up another bundle. So I know it kind of feels like you've got all this death pile, but I don't really think of the bundle stuff as death piles so much, because one, it's already sorted. Two, it's stuff that you're actively keeping for bundling. And to me, it's more of a working inventory pile, as long as you're regularly bundling from it. If it's just sitting there for months and you never ever touch it and you never pull from it, then that's a little bit different. That can be classed maybe as a death pile. But this is part of the reason why I wanted this bigger warehouse. I know there's so many people that are like, why isn't she utilizing the space to go up higher? It's not that I actually wanted to grow the store a whole lot more. I think by the time I add in the end of the shelves, move out some of these things and add another row in here, that's enough for me in terms of listings. The reason why I wanted a bigger warehouse was I wanted bigger floor space so I can do this, because I bring in large hauls all the time, and I've worked out that over the last few years, that is not a one-off thing with the way that I run my business. I am constantly sourcing big hauls, constantly bringing in big hauls. And in the other warehouse, the issue I had, I was constantly tripping over myself. I had nowhere to sort it. My benches, my work benches for my packing area, my photography area, they were being used to sort books, and then the books were sitting there for days while I was trying to sort them, and I didn't have anywhere to put my packed orders or my picked orders or my books that were waiting to photo. So part of the reason why I wanted to come into this bigger space was so that my prep areas, my photography area, my packing station, they weren't cluttered up with books that were for sorting. They were only, if going to be cluttered up, with books for that purpose. So the photo station, like if those shelves are full of books waiting to photograph, that's great. That means they're prepped, ready to go. If I've picked all my orders and they're waiting on the packing bench, that's great. They're waiting to go. Once they're packed up, they're gone. That shelf is back to clear again. So this is exactly why I wanted additional floor space. I might, depending on how this haul goes with all these crates, I've got the opportunity to buy more crates of books like this, more pallets. I can do this on an ongoing basis if I really want to. But this is the first time I've done anything of this size and this type of assorted books into pallets. And so I have to do one load of them to see if it's actually worthwhile. Is the time worthwhile? How profitable is it? I mean, the books I'm getting for cents. So there's profit in the books, but it's a lot of work because you've got to do all this. You've got to sort through them. You've got to pick them. You've got to find ways to discard of the ones that you don't want, because I don't want to just throw them in the bin. Like, I'm trying to find ways. Facebook Marketplace, where can I donate some to? You know, who can I distribute the books that I don't want to, so that they don't go to landfill? Because part of being a reseller is saving things from landfill. I don't want these books to just go to landfill. Somebody wants to read them. I just can't make money off them, but I'm sure somebody wants to read them. So it's a matter of finding these right homes. But that's work. That's effort. So I don't know. But at the end of the day, even if I don't do these massive crates ever again, there's, over the years, I've still bought lots and lots of big hauls that don't come in crates. I go to book fairs, I buy a lot of books. I go Facebook Marketplace, I buy a lot of books. I've bought deceased estates. I've bought big hauls regularly, and I never have a prepping area. So this is exactly what I wanted. This is why I wanted the additional floor space. I don't need big mezzanine levels and shelving to the roof unless I want to triple the size of this business. And if I triple the size of this business, that's multiple staff members. It's a whole different level of business that I don't actually think I want. Anyway, I think I'm just going to put these books away. And next time I come in here, I'll sort the ones for Facebook Marketplace. I'm going home today, so I'm not going to be back here for a few days. So I'm definitely not going to list them on Facebook Marketplace, because if you've had experience with Facebook Marketplace, you get stuffed around. And I don't want to be messaging Tom from back at my house being like, oh, I've got somebody coming for Facebook Marketplace. Can you open up for them? And then them never turning up, and it's just a nuisance. So when I list these on Facebook Marketplace, it'll be next week when I come back and stay here for a few days. And that way I know that I'm here in the warehouse if somebody wants to come and collect them. Okay, That's it. Another day, another vlog. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me ramble. And thanks for watching me build more shelves. Oh my goodness, guys. Soon you'll never have to watch me build another shelf again. Thanks, guys. Bye.